The holiday season is known for bringing family and friends together and creating happy memories. But for some, holiday memories are surrounded by tragedy.
This December, we will be sharing one unsolved missing person story every day this month. We hope sharing their stories will help bring them home for the holidays.
Stacy Ann Kathleen Rudolph was 13 years old when she was last seen near the corner of Clark Street and South 4th Street in Medford, Wisconsin. Medford is a fairly safe small town in north central Wisconsin. The violent crime rate is less than the state average, which is really hard for us to find. Almost every case we cover, the city average is exponentially higher than the state average.
It really is. But Wisconsin, it's another one of those states that I really feel like nothing bad happens there. Besides the whole driving through the crowd, Christmas
And
parade.
making a murderer.
Oh my God, you're right. There's a lot. Just kidding. Wisconsin is horrible.
Not really. We love you people in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
In fact, Stacy is one of only 7 people listed as missing from Medford. And I feel like that's a really low number.
That is a really low, unless the town is like 400.
No, it's a little over 2,200 people. And that's the history of Medford. There's 7 active missing people for Medford and the surrounding areas.
Okay.
She was a white woman, 5 foot 7 inches tall, 125 to 135 pounds. She had brown hair, brown eyes, pierced ears, and a scar on the right inside of her arm near her elbow. The last day Stacy was seen was December 2nd, 2000. Stacy's non-custodial mother, Lori Ann Kruger, allegedly kidnapped her. There is little to no information in regards to Stacy's disappearance, and honestly, I'm a little surprised by it. I think this past year, more than ever before, we've seen the Gabby Petito case, and we've seen more and more discussions of missing white woman syndrome and the fact that this is a 13-year-old white woman, young girl even, completely missing. And I couldn't find a single newspaper article out there.
I do think it makes a difference if they are taken by a non-custodial parent, if it gets publicized. And we're going to, over this next month, we're going to come up with probably quite a few of these cases where one of the parents took the child and has never been seen since, which boggles my mind how this could happen. How does someone just disappear with a child? Do they not go to school for the rest of their lives? I don't know. It must be way easier than we think to just start a new life.
And I feel like it's open for discussion of if it's a non-custodial parent taking them versus a stranger taking someone, do you think one or the other gets more precedent in the eyes of the law?
Oh, I definitely think one gets more recognition, more media coverage. Stranger abductions always take the cake because it's so rare that a stranger abducts a kid. Let's be real. It happens. Obviously, we know it happens way more than it should, but that's what parents stay up all night scared of. Their anxiety peaks. It's always the stranger danger. They're teaching our kids from the moment they can walk and talk about not to go with people. So I definitely think it's really different.
I also think that police hold out on the hope that if it is a non-custodial parent, they will still care for the child and that it's not necessarily a negative situation as far as they're being human trafficked or they're being murdered or sold or all the millions of terrible things that happen to children in this world. They hold out the hope that because it is a parent, that they're actually going to care for the individual.
I agree. And I would assume, this is me assuming, the majority of those, the parent does just want to take away their kid from the other parent, and it's a horrible situation. However, they do care for them. But there has been many times when that non-custodial parent has taken the kids and something really sinister has happened because of it.
Oh, so absolutely.
You never know. That's the thing. If they don't have custody of their kid, there's a reason, most likely. It's scary regardless. I could not fathom.
Absolutely. Now, There was no clues as to where Stacy had gone or where she would have gone. In fact, I couldn't even tell where she was taken from.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know if it was her home where she was staying, if it was she was at a friend's house that her mom picked her up. There was no information. I had very few resources to get this very little information as is.
It's probably way easier to take your 13-year-old versus your 3-year-old because
Oh, of course.
the 3-year-old's always being watched. They're at daycare. There's certain people that are allowed to pick them up. If it's a 13-year-old and she wants to be with her mom, you can just arrange that with the 13-year-old themselves.
Her mom would have a felony warrant issued for her, but not until almost 2 years after Stacy's disappearance on September 19th, 2002.
I'm probably sure it didn't say why it took them 2 years. She was reported missing right away, correct?
As far as I can tell.
Okay. Oh, wow. 2 years. You think it would be, but it's the non-custodial parent thing. They think that, oh, they'll just bring them back. And
I also had the thought of what if Stacy was in foster care and the non-custodial mother picked her up, maybe even for a visitation, and then did not return her. And it just took a little bit longer to process that Stacy's not here.
That's very true. Or even if not even in foster care, if it was just like the mom's weekend to have, and she was supposed to go back to, it could be the dad, it could be the grandparents. Who knows who had actual custody of her? But yeah, that's a valid point.
Yep. When Stacy was abducted, Lori was a 30-year-old white woman listed as being 5 foot 8 inches tall, around 125 pounds. She had sandy brown hair and brown eyes. She also had used a couple of other aliases in her past, including the last name Rudolph that Stacy also shared, as well as the last name Verdone or Verdoni. I'm not sure how to pronounce that specifically. Lori is also listed as one of those 7 missing people that I mentioned earlier. So again, if you look at that, 2 of the 7 are connected.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a relatively safe place.
I agree completely. Wow, that's nuts.
It is suspected that both Stacy and Lori could have been in the company of an adult male. No evidence has warranted leads in Stacy's disappearance, and Lori's whereabouts have remained unknown for the last 22 years. Stacy's story is just a giant mystery. Stacy would be 35 years old today. What happened to Stacy Ann Kathleen Rudolph? If you have any information about Stacy's disappearance or Lori's whereabouts, please contact Taylor County Sheriff's Office Detective Mike Schroeder at 715-748-2200. Our social media post will include the most recent age progressions from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children, as well as photos of Lori Ann Kruger.
Wow.